Hey everybody, it's Sarah from Families of Character. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, and even amid this Covid-19 crisis, we are committed to still coming live every Tuesday at 11:30 Mountain Standard Time to our community of parents, and we are super appreciative that you are here with us. So last week, Jordan talked about how to be a leader in this time with clearly we're not doing this together, we're just doing it one-on-one. So last week, Jordan talked about how to be a leader for your family in this time of COVID-19. And this week, I am talking about how to stay connected, how 3 generations in your family can stay connected during this time. So there's really a unique sense of that grandparent. I've been talking to a few of my friends who are grandparents, and a lot of them are really sad right now. They're missing their connection with their grandkids. And we thought here at Families of Character that is actually something to bring to light, something to talk about. So we wanted to come on today. I'm in my office because it's a little crazy at my house right now with distance learning and everyone working from home and all that stuff. So thank you for joining me today. So let's see, if you have an idea of how you are staying connected with grandparents during this time, it is really tough because, their grandparents are typically the older generation that is easily infected if they come in contact with COVID-19. And obviously we want to keep them healthy and safe. So how are you staying connected with your family? How are you staying in touch and feeling that connection during this time with grandparents to grandkids and just that whole idea. Okay, so we've got a couple ideas. Here's some for you. If you're here, drop a comment so that I know you're watching. There's quite a few watching on Facebook, so thank you for joining me. So one of the things that Jordan and I love to use back and forth, have you guys ever heard of the Polo app? Zoom calls and FaceTime, yes. Zoom does offer free 40 minutes for Zoom. It's a great tool. But so is Polo. That's kind of where I was going. If it's like this cute it's an app you download on your phone. And the cool thing about Polo is if you cannot watch the video right there, you can watch it 2 days later or 30 minutes later, whatever the time frame that works for you, especially for kids who've got, a curriculum to stick to. Grandparents can leave a message. The kid can open it up on the iPad or the phone, and they can watch, and then they can record a message back. So it's a really neat way. Jordan and I actually use it all the time to communicate. It's a little bit different than text messaging because you get to see that visual, that face. So there's one idea, okay? Goes along with that, that technological way to keep in touch. So Polo, FaceTime, Zoom calls, all great, all right? So, but what about when it goes beyond just the daily check-in of, hey, how are you? Okay, here's some fun ideas. Grandparents can record a book, like they can record reading a book to their grandkid, and then the grandkid can open it up on Polo and watch it. They can rewatch it and rewatch it. They can do that on FaceTime too. That's really one way to utilize the connection between grandkid and grandparent and also help the parents out a little bit. I mean, who of us parents are drowning in, what is it called? Social distance learning, and then also trying to keep up with work. If, most people are working from home at this time. So it's nice if the kids can have a break, and it's nice if they can have that with another adult, but yet can't be in the same house, right? You get the idea? So it's kind of a great idea. Grandparents open up the app, read a book, have interaction that way. On the reciprocal, grandkids can practice the piano if they are, or practice their instrument and record it for their grandparents to hear it, and then their grandparents can give feedback. That's kind of a fun and different way to interact as well without being in the same house. What else? They can Legos. I see all these Lego contests going on online right now between kids and virtual play dates. But you can still have a virtual play date with your grandparent, right? So that's one way. to interact still and keep that connection going between the generations, and also to help the parents out a little bit. So what about some non-technology ideas? You can just really, who doesn't love to receive snail mail, right? Even if you live a mile from your grandparents, even if there's just a mile distance, you could still utilize snail mail, because what person doesn't love getting snail mail? I had this thought, in 20 years from now, right? How old are your kids? Mine are 13, 10, 7, and 2. Obviously, the 2-year-old's not going to remember it, but my 13-year-old is probably going to have a lot of memories looking back on this COVID-19 experience. And what if you set up with your grandparents, between the grandparents and the grandkids, kind of like a pen pal exchange back and forth? And then you kept all of those. What a great memory to look back on in 10, 20, 30 years from now, that you shared that experience, and that was one way to grow your relationship between the generations. So that's kind of a fun idea. It gives the kids something to do. It practices their writing and their reading, and then it also kind of gets that something to look forward to. So that's another fun idea. You could do art lessons, baking lessons, anything, over the phone, over FaceTime. We're kind of going back to technology, but I don't know. Anyone else have some really fun tips just to stay connected? I know as parents, Jordan, they had school last week, and my family had spring break last week. So me and my husband weren't really immersed in the stress of having to work and do schoolwork at the same time. And then this week, it's flipped. Jordan and her family's on spring break, and me and my husband are navigating the work from home and trying to come up with ideas to keep everyone occupied while we're trying to do meetings and Zoom calls and stuff like that. So, what's it like in your house? Are you staying sane? How can you utilize just different ways of technology, different generations, even go beyond grandparents and aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews and all of that? How can you guys stay connected at this time when we really can't be together? We should be staying home so that we can flatten the curve and that we can get through this, get beyond it, and move on. So if you guys have any ideas, please drop some comments, because in this time of community, we are all just looking for different ideas. We plan on dropping a couple really unique videos this week on our Families of Character site. So stay tuned, because we're going to take this whole idea of the 3 generations growing together. We're going to take it to a different level, and we've got some pretty cool resources that we are going to drop this week on our social media sites. So stay tuned to that. That's pretty much the message today. Is just different ways to reach out and connect with different members of your family and keep the generations communicating and feeling connected. So thank you guys for hopping on. I can't see I guess when you do a live video, you can't see how long you've been on. So I think I've been on about 10 minutes, but I know we probably all have schoolwork to get back to and meetings to get back to and all that. But let's stay positive. We're going to really focus on staying positive during COVID-19. And Jordan talked about being a leader last week. This is one way you can lead not only your kids through this situation, but lead your whole family through this situation, multiple generations. Josh says, scroll through the contact list and call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Yes, definitely do that, just for your own sanity, please, and stay connected. It's a great time. People are home, and they're looking to hear from people. So with that, I'm going to move on with my day. I know my 7-year-old still has some homework, and I really appreciate you guys jumping on. Jordan and I will be back next week with some amazing hot topic to offer for you guys during this COVID-19 series, because we're not going back to school here in Colorado until April 17th is the current date that we are waiting for to go back to school. So we'll take turns coming on live, solo, and just offer support to parents during this time. And please, if you like this video, share it. Hopefully it had some valuable resources. Look into Marco Polo, look into Zoom, figure out how to FaceTime. Even Facebook Messenger, I think, has a video app that you can use. Send pictures back and forth to each other. But, you know, just brighten the day of those people in your family and get in a routine of reaching out. So thanks, y'all. Have a great afternoon and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.